Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her King. Let every heart prepare him room. Heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing. Joy to the world, the Savior reigns. Let men their songs employ, while fields and floods, rocks, hills, and plains repeat the sounding joy, repeat the sounding joy, repeat the sounding joy. He rules the world with truth and grace, and makes the nations prove the glories of his righteousness, wonders of his love, and wonders of his love, and wonders of his love.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Barbara. Such a great song for the topic today and also for the Christmas season and Advent. So beautiful. Good morning and welcome to any new listeners that we might have. We're so happy to have you here. If you feel comfortable and you're new, please write your name in the Facebook chat so that we can greet you warmly and appropriately. So our daily word for today is love. And the affirmation statement is love lights my way. In this Advent season, as I prepare my heart for the rebirth of my inner Christ child, I take a moment to connect with the spirit of love within. Sometimes this season may seem to be about presents, food, and celebrations, but it is really about love. Love is the power upon which the whole world revolves. Especially at this busy time of year, I want to stay attuned to the love of Christ within. Through this reciprocal power, the love I give returns to me abundantly. Love transcends all, transforming any perceived negativity into a blessing. I express love in all my words and my actions. I may give a plate of homemade food or send a heartfelt note of appreciation. Whatever I do, I let the love in my heart be my guide. And the passage today from the Bible is Mark 12:31. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. There is no other greater commandment. Again, love. Love lights my way. So our mission statement here at the Unity of the Seacoast is, we are a loving, nurturing community dedicated to being a positive path to spiritual living, to awaken oneness with God within us all. So announcements for today. The first is to check out the website. You can see all of the weekly announcements there, and all of our talks are archived there. If you missed Charlie's meditation service this past Monday, you can find that there as well as the previous meditations as well. So anything you want to look back on and reflect on, you can go there and see it. It's really nice. Also on the website is our donate button. So if you wish to make a donation, you can go right to the website and click on that donate button. We also use the Tithely app. So for any of those that like to have apps on their phone and find that easier, you can download the Tithely app from your app store, and it walks you through how to use that app. It's really super convenient. If you prefer to mail a check, the address is scrolling along the bottom. It's Unity of the Seacoast, and it's P.O. Box 1476, and that's in Dover, New Hampshire, and the zip is 03821. So this is week 3 of Advent, and we're talking about joy today. And then next week we'll be talking about love. That'll be the 4th service of the Advent season, which is a series of 4 talks. So that'll be the 4th one on the topic of love. We're also beginning to prepare for the Christmas Eve service, which sounds really wonderful. Similar to last year's service, we're going to have Reverend Russell Highland from Unity of Fairfax, who will be joining us, as well as Reverend Sandra Campbell, who is the president of the Unity School, the Unity Urban Ministerial School. And then our musical guest will be Faith Rivera. So that's going to be a wonderful service. And then following that, we'll be preparing for services on the Burning Bowl ceremony, as well as our White Stone ceremony. So lots coming up, a lot of great stuff. Also, just want to put a plug in to take a look on Facebook at Tom's Advent series that he's doing. He's recording a little short video every day during Advent, and they're really educational and learning a lot of little tips about Christmas and things like Christmas trees and lots of other little tidbits on the Advent season. We are going to have a fellowship meeting via Zoom after service this morning, and you can see the ID scrolling across the page. It is 838-7424-8293. And that, I believe, is all the announcements for this morning. So we'll take a moment to do our Namaste, and just to explain what that is. Namaste is a Sanskrit word which means the Christ in me sees the Christ in you. And so let's just take a moment, and you can, if you're next to someone, share a Namaste, or we can just do it all virtually. Okay, so Namaste. All right, next we're going to have Barbara play us another song.
God rest ye merry gentlemen, and nothing you dismay. Remember Christ our Savior was born on Christmas Day to save us all from Satan's power where we're gone astray. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy, comfort and joy. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy. From God our Heavenly Father, a blessed angel came, and unto certain shepherds brought tidings of the same, how that in Bethlehem was born the Son of God by name. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy, comfort and joy. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy. Now to the Lord sing praises, all you within this place, and with true love and brotherhood each other now embrace. This holy tide of Christmas doth bring redeeming grace. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy, comfort and joy. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy.
Wonderful. Thank you, Barbara.
Thank
Beautiful. Love your background. So festive. Okay, so next I want to introduce our speaker, our wonderful spiritual leader, Tom. And I know all of us are, but I'll just say how appreciative I am for Tom and all he does for this community. So today he'll be talking about joy.
Good morning, everyone. Bev, thank you so much. I love when you facilitate You're so natural at it. For anyone who don't know, Dev is also on the ministerial path, and I look forward to watching that path unfold, and want to help her in as many ways as possible.
Thank you.
And Barbara, again, thank you. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
always doing the right song. It's just a blessing for me to hear you every week. And I was thinking this week of how much I miss Christmas caroling and Christmas services. So thank you for those choices.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the third week of Advent. And this week, we look at joy. The first 2 weeks of Advent were focused more on the arrival of Jesus' mission. These next 2 weeks lean more towards the birth of Jesus. But both themes overlap, so it's hard to separate one from the other. And this joy is considered a subdued joy. And this week, the candle is pink, which represents the subdued color. We will light that. Now, I thought I would bring you back to just before baby Jesus was born. According to the Gospel of Luke, Caesar Augustus had issued a decree that a census be taken and all the people must return to their place of birth to be counted. Joseph, then he was born in Bethlehem. Mary and Joseph are working their way to Bethlehem. And we learned in Genesis 48:7 that Bethlehem is also called the city of Ephrath. It's the city where Rachel was buried. Rachel was the wife of Jacob, Jacob's ladder, Jacob who later was renamed Israel. And the people who followed Jacob were called the people of Israel. Bethlehem is also known as the city of David. Jesus is to be born into the city that connects his birth to David and to the place Ephrath where Rachel was buried. Luke chapter 2, verse 4. And so Joseph went up from the town of Nazareth in Galilee to Judah, to Bethlehem, the town of David, because he belonged to the house and the line of David. Jesus' lineage in Matthew brings him back through David, through Jacob and Rachel, back to Abraham. These are not so subtle ways of stating that Jesus is connected to the scriptures. But before I move forward, I want to kind of express to me what subdued joy is. So we're going to do our meditation here. So for a minute, I would like you to close your eyes and get comfortable. Breathe in and out at a relaxed pace. And as you do this, I would like you to remember that baby from last week that we held that was at peace. I'd like you to go back a little further. The baby has not yet been born. You've wondered about your baby. You've wondered about the health, and you visit the doctor. You know the child is within. And the doctor says, would you like to hear the heartbeat? And you listen, and at first you're not sure. But then you hear it. Da-dump, da-dump, da-dump. And inside you fill with emotion. But you're quiet because you're still listening to the life within. Da-dump, da-dump, da-dump. And these moments for you become more frequent as the child grows. And you can feel the twists and the turns and the kicks. Da-dum, da-dum, da-dum. This is joy at its highest level. It is a deep, calming joy. I invite you to come back. You know, the love and the nurture side of God is feminine. The woman owns this part. Spouse may be supportive, but it's in the womb. It's in the womb that creation prepares to become manifest. Wisdom is the masculine side, but a child is a consummation of feminine love and masculine wisdom. The wisdom in this situation comes from the angel Gabriel. It is he who tells Mary that she will have a child. He is the messenger from God. But Mary is the love. This is us as the face of God, love and wisdom. So when we create and see an idea or a thought, it's in the God idea. Message comes from God's unlimited possibilities. But then they're held in a womb-like state, and we nurture it until it's ready to manifest. We begin to reach our highest self, to live up to our Christ-like nature. We nurture thoughts on the inside until we are ready to manifest our own lives on its highest plane. Mary is living a life of nurture and anticipatory joy. Anticipatory joy is when we've put fear away. We understand the newness of life. That hope has grown into peace, and that peace is settled into joy. Hope is the first anticipation. When we create the desire, peace is the calmness that follows. And joy is the expression of knowing things will be fulfilled. Expectant parents feel the joy in knowing that the cycle of love will soon have a completeness to it. The birth of faith. The birth of Jesus represents completeness within ourselves. The birth of that connection within ourselves to our highest nature. It's a joy, but it's not a joy that we run from mountaintop to mountaintop screaming. It's something we carry inside. It's our still, silent joy, but it is impactful. The birth of consciousness within us is restoring. It's a rebirth. It's disarming those things that held power over us and us seeing through the fearless, unjaded eyes of a child. It's a time when nerves are put on hold and fears that congest the thoughts are diminished. We've cast aside the negative and see only joy because we know we are developing the ability to raise our own lives, to give birth to a newness of thought and manifest the newness of life. We've hoped for change. We've visualized what it can be. We've become at peace with the new path that's available to us. We know soon we will nurture our new path. And now we are resting in the joy of the moment. You know, when we look at something metaphysically, we're looking for an undiscovered truth or connectivity of what we are studying and how to bring it into our lives. We can accept the facts of the story might not be true, but there's truth in what it means to us. Did Jesus look at things metaphysically? Well, many times he spoke in parables. The stories that he told may not have been true, but they contain truths and wisdom in them. So I take that as permission to look at his story metaphysically. The birth of Jesus comes near the end of Herod the Great's reign. A new birth happens within us when we are ready to cast aside the thoughts and influences of the past that have reigned over us and controlled our thought patterns. Herod represents overinflated, bloated ego and self-worth, a state of false that rules our being. Mary and Joseph's trip to Bethlehem is a trip of completeness and redirected focus to that which is good. When a family has a new child, there is a completeness of love, and their focus is now redirected toward that child. That's us when we begin to feel focused on our new identity, an identity no longer ruled by ego or materialism, but ruled by the birth of the Christ consciousness within us. That's when hope and peace begin to take root and the subtle joy wells up within us. The trip to Bethlehem for the purpose of census represents that sorting out within us of what thoughts or patterns in our lives are true or right thought, and what thought patterns or influence are no longer a service to us. Which parts of our identity belongs to ego, and which parts belong to our higher self. Mary is that within us that's accepting. She's ready to give birth to a new right way of life. She accepts her new role and she nurtures it. Joseph is that part of us that doesn't always understand what's happening at first, but then settles into a new way of life. He doesn't understand that Mary can be with child, but soon comprehends how and why, and his life is added to. We don't always understand the newness of our life and what it means, because we get stuck in the old, and we have a change of heart and shift happens within us as we begin to see our possibilities and how our lives are now added to. Jesus, at this point, is in the womb. He is the idea that's not come to complete manifestation yet. Ideas are created twice, once in God mind and then manifested into the physical or the tangible. At this point, you probably think, Tom, you're really sucking the fun out of Christmas. And I get it. But I want you to understand that each day we get to start anew. And Christmas really brings home that point. You know, we're nearing the end of the year. It's a natural time to reflect on what works for us and what doesn't work. You know, there's several theories floating around why December 25th was chosen, but I like the one I like the most is Emperor Constantine picked the day because it fell on the day that the great mother goddess gave birth to the baby's sun god. See, Constantine ruled over Romans who were divided between Christian and pagan beliefs. And in fact, he was struggling between both. It was only on his deathbed when he was baptized. But he picked this day because he knew it would be a united day of peace for all. I like that it means peace for all. I cannot think of a better reason. I like that it lands near the end of the year and reinforces our desire to start the next year anew. As I look out my window, I see the rest of the leaves have fallen. Leaves which gave so much beauty no longer appear to be what they once were. The snow will soon fall and cover them. And the snow is like newness, a new coat casting away what no longer works for us. But those leaves settle back into the cycle of it all and provide nourishment for the future. All our things from the past provide nourishment for our future. It's provided in the form of wisdom and love. There is joy in starting anew, erasing what did not work for us. Each year, We find those things that worked and those things that didn't. Jesus represents that new hope that we have. It's a childlike hope. In a couple of weeks, we'll do our burning bowl ceremony. But now is where the seeds of that begins. Think about what hasn't worked for you. I'm offering you love to cast those things away. Now, how do you know what you keep? Well, let's think again about that baby that we've been picturing. You're holding her. She's looking up to you. You can see her. She is listening. She does not judge. Now begin to tell her about you. Tell her who you are. Tell her about your heart, your love for others. Tell her your dreams. Your baby can be any gender you want. I just settled on her. But what you're telling her is about her future, and you want to keep her unjaded. Remember when you were telling herself, you are a reminder of joy, and she is giving you joy. That's the nature of the interaction. And I would like you to actually do that this week. Picture that baby and tell her of yourself. Now, if you're human, and I suspect most of you are, but if you're human, there will be things that you left out. And if they're not, look a little deeper. We all have them. I have them. I almost said a swear word back in May, and I almost jaywalked. But those things that you left out, they're okay to leave out. But identify those things as the things that did not work well for you. Those are the things that you want to cast away. If you cannot tell this child about something in your life, recognize that as something that you need to let go. Remember, the baby is unjaded. The baby does not judge. She just loves the sound of your voice. And you're teaching her to find all aspects, joy in all aspects of life. So now we're preparing for the joy of the birth of Jesus. And in joy, we hang lights, we wrap gifts, sing and listen to music. And it's right that we eat fun foods and we look at each other with a certain love that perhaps maybe eluded us a little bit during the rest of the year. But we need these reminders to know that life is meant to be enjoyed. Because joy is the outcome of the work that we've put into ourselves. It's the outcome of loving others. It doesn't matter about them loving back because it emanates from within you. It comes from your kingdom of heaven, our connection to God. Mary's joy came from her connection to God and emanated in a child. Joy is the anticipation of the holidays. And I don't want to minimize it because Christmas is a great holiday. And I'd like you to reflect on past Christmases. Pick ones that have meaning to you. I remember the Christmases with my kids and Casey. Casey is the gift buyer in the family. I'm terrible at it, so I surrender control of that to her. In fact, my daughter last week wrote this, and I'll quote her. My favorite part of opening gifts that say love mom and dad is my dad is just as surprised to see what's inside as me. I remember the year that we bought Bo, an electric car racing track. We set it all up. And he came out and he spent the whole day playing with this little stocking stuffer pool table thing. Just little, wow, what a great gift, Dad. I remember in 1970 or 71, it snowed on Christmas Eve, and we spent the day and evening with the neighborhood kids sliding down our street. Our sledding hill wasn't a hill, it was the actual street. And to avoid hitting an oncoming car or the traffic at the intersection below, we would have to crash into a parked car so we wouldn't hit a moving one. I remember singing carols at people's houses as we walked to our grandmother's house. We had a group of kids that did it every year. Grandma would have hot chocolate and cookies, and we would sit on her floor and count the money that people gave us. We don't see that anymore. I miss that stuff. And I look forward to Christmases of the future. I was telling Barbara, I look forward to when we can have a caroling service. We can all get together and sing songs and be in the moment and express the joy that's within us. What does joy mean to you? I mean, I have my thoughts and I have the metaphysical ideas, but this is joy. Joy is personal. I would like each of you to type in at least one thing in the comment box that brings you joy. It's okay if you do more than one, and it doesn't have to be politically correct. It doesn't have to be the right unity thought. Just be selfish. What brings you joy? Because that's part of the season. That is a big part. This is what it's all about. It's a reminder each year of all the things that bring us joy. You know, every once in a while, I get a message from one of you. Just say hi or tell me about a talk. That brings me joy. If you don't think anything you have to say or think makes an impact, or hearing from you makes an impact on me. I got to see that joy on Tracy's face when she talked about going to Florida for Christmas. I see that joy in each of you. I watch Casey as she plans or goes to town to pick up something. For me, I get to speak to you. There's joy in that for me. And I want you to remember this week the trip to Bethlehem. Probably wasn't easy. Most likely was walking. Bethlehem is about 105 miles from Nazareth. And at a relaxed pace, probably about 35 hours of walking time. But being in the last trimester of a pregnancy, bringing food and supplies, maybe around a 3 to 5 day journey. I want you to remember this because we all have a journey to go through when we're beginning anew. We all have to let go of fear. We have to leave that which we know or are not familiar with to venture into new. We still have the memories of the past, and we have memories of how we've treated others and we've been treated, things that are default positions that our mind and ego want to cling to. There's unknown in starting a new path. There's joy in that. And we come to terms with everything. There's no recrimination in starting anew. That's what releases the joy in us. Think about your journey this year. Where did you begin the year? Like most, probably in uncertainty, but hopeful and at peace, knowing that things will work out. And you had the joy of anticipation of the new year. So what's gone well for you? Did you achieve a goal? Did you gain strength? Did you realize your wholeness? Do you feel more connected to God? Do you feel braver? Have you stood up for yourself? A career switch? Our kids move closer to home, so we get to celebrate the holidays with them again. And their loved ones. We get to celebrate with Katie B and Jonah. I get to spend more time with Casey. I've spent time with many of you walking or at lunches, and I get to speak to each of you this week. I know some of you moved and have gotten new homes. I know some of you are reaching out and connecting with people that you haven't connected with in a while. We went to 2 weddings of people that we knew as kids, and it still blows me away that they remembered us enough to invite them, or us enough to invite us. I never take those moments for granted. Get to work on the Unity Study Bible. Me, the insecure kid from Nutley, New Jersey. Why? Because I believe in what I talk about. I believe in being connected to God. I put into practice all that I learn, and I fail at it often. But my failures are a lesson too. If I can fail at my lessons and all this works out, then imagine if I really focus to succeed most of the time. Imagine for a moment that you could start anew with all the wisdom that you have now. And you may fail, but it will all work out. And then imagine your life, what it could be if you succeeded most of the time in your connection to God. I'm sure there were difficult times this year. I'm sure many of you have reasons to feel set back. What's the purpose of that feeling? Go inside to the real you, your highest self, and choose how you will move through the rest of the season and through next year and beyond. What are the patterns that you want to change? What would an alternative pattern look like? Identify one thing that you can do to begin to achieve that change. If you could pick one thing to make something better, what would that be? What can you do? And then start with that. Pick an area that you could joyously increase your value to yourself. Because we get to choose joy. We get to react in joy. Now, I'm sure a lot of Mary and Joseph's journey were treacherous, but I'm sure that they were imagining their life after the baby was born. I'm sure they were seeing joy in all their endeavors. See joy in yours. Set goals, dream big, picture your dreams as real. Visualize yourself living in your desires. Visualize yourself loving others, being abundant. Visualize yourself raising others and then raising yourself. Because just as the author of Luke saw a connection to Jesus, to that which is holy, see that in yourself. Because your life is a series of connections. It all got you here to this moment. There's joy in that. Celebrate the new birth in yourself. Recognize your journey and how far you've come. Visualize your life as it could be and be joyful in that thought. I'd like to turn our attention to our prayers for others and for ourselves and the world. Take a moment to think of those in need, those who aren't home during the season, those who suffered from the hurricanes or tornadoes this week. Think of your friends and your loved one. If you're listening on Facebook and you feel comfortable, just type in their initials in the box. And if you don't feel comfortable, then hit a heart emoji or something to let people know that you're thinking of others. And if you're thinking of someone, I say this every week, and I'm very sincere in it. Reach out to them and tell them that you're thinking of them. This is the season. Bring them joy. Let them know that they're loved. They want to hear from you. And we hold the world and everyone in it in a thought of wholeness, light, and love. And we affirm their wholeness and health. The fastest way to have a prayer land is to contact that person and show them love. We also do another prayer. It's a prayer of tithing, and we talk about this every week, but it does take something to keep our church going. And we know that to give is to receive. When we open the door to give, we've opened the door to receive for ourselves. It's the law of prosperity. It's the law of tithing. When your hand is out to give, it's also open to receive. So for those who know it, maybe I should create a scrolling for this as well, but repeat, divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, all that I receive. And so it is. I'd like to bring this to the Prayer of Protection by James Dillett Freeman. The light of God surrounds you. The love of God enfolds you. The power of God watches over you. Wherever you are, God is, and all is well. Amen.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let there be peace on earth. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. Take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth. Let it begin with me.